Hi, I'm Miley with Asian Media Network. In the month of May, Asian Media Network have done a series of Asian culture. This gives us the opportunity to learn about the similarity and the uniqueness of each Asian culture. Today in our studio, we have Dr. Jing Kwoh, who is the professor at Benedictine University in Mesa, Arizona. Welcome, Dr. Kwoh, to the show. And today, you're going to teach us everything that we need to know about Chinese culture.
Hi, Mai. Thank you for having me here. Yes, today I'm going to introduce some Chinese culture.
And talk about the culture. First of all, every culture have the origin. So can you tell us about the history, the origin of Chinese people?
Let me share two legends with you about where China came from and where Chinese people came from. The first legend is about Pangu. According to the Chinese legend, when the world was created, the sky and earth was one. There was only darkness and chaos. A giant called Pangu used his axe to separate the sky and earth. And he cast off his body to create winds, clouds, thunder, the sun, moon, rain, soil, rivers, mountains, and plants. After Pangu created the world, there was no life, except Nuwa, whose body has half human body and half snake. Nuwa used clay to create the first Chinese people. So those are the two legends to explain where China came from, where Chinese people came from.
That must be thousand years ago, right?
That's correct.
So nowadays, Chinese is in the world. Talk about the population. China have the largest population. Do you have the data, exactly how many people in China nowadays?
Sure. The China population, almost 1.4 billion people. In mainland China, we have 56 different minorities. The main ethnic Han ethnic group make up of the 90% of the total population. The second largest group is the Zhuang ethnic group. So they are very close to Vietnam, just one street on in the border.
So for you, what region you came from?
My mother actually is from the Zhuang.
Zhuang, okay. So then, because of the population is so big and so many different ethnic groups like this, I would imagine the language would be dynamic too.
That's right. We have major 10 dialects.
10?
Yes, under 10 you can have thousands.
Wow.
So in US, most people know as Mandarin and Cantonese.
Yeah, that's more popular, right?
That's correct. So for example, if I say you're so beautiful, in Mandarin is 你好美.
你好美.
In Cantonese is 你好靚啊.
Oh, 靚女. You too, 你好靚.
Thank you.
How do you say thank you?
謝謝.
謝謝. That's
that's Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Cantonese would be 多謝.
多謝, yes. So what language that bring people together, because they cannot have so many dialogue, and how do people communicate?
Well, right now the central government enforce most schools to use Mandarin. So most people in China, they can speak Mandarin.
All right. And then the writing the same or different? Even you have different dialogue, but the writing the same?
The writing almost the same, slightly different. So China, the national flag, often known as the 5-star red flag. The design features one large star with 4 smaller stars representing the workers, farmers, soldiers, and business. So it means that the government has a close relationship with its people.
And the color red?
The color red means revolution.
And the yellow means skin?
The yellow is the star color, the color of the star.
Well, we should learn about the meaning of the national flag, Chinese national flag. What about the national symbol or the flower, for example?
Actually, in the Chinese, officially, we do not have national flower. But majority Chinese people believe peony is our national flower. First of all, it's the king of flowers. Most Chinese believe that the peony is the first among the fragrances and is called the king of flowers.
No wonder I saw like on the China vase, they have that flower.
That's
it's
correct.
beautiful.
That's correct. And it also represents the national color. And
Pink.
Chinese view peony as a symbol of wealth and luck. Peony also is a symbol of grace and prosperity.
Well, when we talk about the flower, do you have that flower on your dress?
Unfortunately, no. I have that on my another dress.
But your dress is beautiful. So what is this, the dress called?
This is Chipot.
Chipot. Okay. And this is represent for what region or the whole country?
Actually, it's the whole country.
Okay.
So this is the most well-known Chinese traditional custom. The Chipot was created around the mid-20th century. Chipot actually is a modern design. It's a combination of the Manchu cheongsam rope with the Western style.
Well, you can see the similarity. I'm wearing Vietnamese áo dài, and the Vietnamese áo dài have the color similar like the Chipot dress. And we also have the split too. It's cut the split, but because it cut high up in the waist, so we have to wear pants. But then for the Chipot, it's really sexy because the women have show their beautiful long leg. Yes. So in the old day, how do people dress?
So actually, the Chinese traditional custom, we call it Hanfu.
Hanfu.
It's
yeah.
a Han Chinese clothing.
I'm watching a lot of Chinese movie with the Tang Dynasty
That's
and
correct.
this Fan Dynasty, and the women back in the old day, they dress up beautiful. Although so many layers though, but it's gorgeous.
That's
Yes.
correct. That's correct. So Han style has more than 5,000 years old.
Wow.
And Hanfu is one of the oldest national costume in the world. Hanfu nowadays become very popular in China. People will wear it, go shopping, go dining, even hiking.
In the nowadays.
It's nowadays, yes, for graduation party, they wear that.
Wow. And you know, the costume, usually people wear national costume to show the pride of the country and the pride for the culture, and usually they wear that on a special holiday. So speaking about that, the Chinese, what is the special holiday in China that people celebrate?
The most important holiday, I would say, is Chinese Lunar New Year.
The same, right?
Yes.
Does that happen during like January, February time frame?
It's February,
Okay.
yes. So
Same as Vietnamese, yeah.
in the Lunar New Year is the January,
Okay.
but it is in the Western calendar, it's around February.
Yeah.
A reunion dinner is held on New Year Eve of the Chinese New Year. During that time, family members will get together, and that's considered the most important get-together of the whole year. Red envelopes will give to youth for luck, and inside we put money inside so they can purchase whatever they want.
That's one of the things that people, especially the kids, favorite. Like I'm grown up in Vietnam, similar thing. We just love Lunar New Year because we know that we're gonna get lì xì. I
You
call
can
lì
get
xì.
rich, right?
Is that
That's
lì
correct.
xì? Is that Cantonese word?
It's a Cantonese.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
does lai si mean? Lai is money, is profit.
Ah.
Si is like, it's kind of luck. So it kind of
Oh,
represents
that mean
money
lucky.
and luck.
Yeah.
So the Chinese New Year from the New Year Eve is lasts for 16 days.
16. That means more than 2
16.
weeks.
That's
Celebrating.
So it's the longest holiday of the whole year.
Well, when people get together to celebrate, of course they're gonna eat, and there'll be a lot of food and festivals. So we will talk more about that. But what the other holiday?
Yes, we also have another important holidays around fall is the MidAutumn Festival.
They known as Moon Festival, right?
That's
Okay.
correct. you also can call it Mooncake Festival.
Okay.
So during this time we celebrate the 4th, and Chinese believe during this period of time the full moon is the most beautiful full moon of the whole year.
Yes.
We will eat mooncake outside the house and then enjoy watching the beautiful moon.
And I like to eat mooncake with tea.
With
So
tea,
so you
that's
can see the
right.
Vietnamese culture and Chinese culture very similar.
Very
Yeah.
similar. That's correct. Dragon Boat Festival. So the Dragon Boat Festival is a traditional holiday which occurs the 5th days of the 5th month in the traditional Chinese lunar calendar. It was originally a summer festival to drive away the 5 plague gods to get rid of the plague. During this time, we will eat 粽子.
What is that? That is a rice cake?
It's not really. It's kind of like a big bamboo leaves.
Okay.
And then we wrap sweet rice inside.
Okay.
According to different flavor, you can add mung bean, red bean, peanut, pork, salty eggs inside. So, dragon boat racing, Chinese use boats as a tool to drive away evil spirit.
Talk about food, that's the topic I love to talk about because I love dim sum and I love Chinese food. So tell me a little bit about the Chinese cuisine.
Yes, Chinese, we have 8 major cuisines.
8.
8 different.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it's different region, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Due to the influence of the geographic environment, climate, cultural, and custom. So Chinese food evolved to 8 different cuisines. So it shows on the picture. So the most popular and well-recognized food in America will be Cantonese food. Cantonese food is famous for its certification, such as roasted duck, dim sum, and very famous.
Bim bao, steam bun.
Steam bun, yes, and very famous for seafood dishes.
Okay. Vietnamese people love Cantonese food. Yeah.
Yes, most people will love Cantonese food because it fits majority the taste. Yes. So the second popular cuisine right now is getting more and more popular in America is the Sichuan food. So Sichuan food has very bold flavor, particularly for its pungency and spicy, because they use a lot of garlic and pepper in cooking those food.
Is that because the origin of this region is near to where Mongolian and the Korean, like that area that they eat very spicy?
Sichuan close to Tibet.
Tibet, okay.
Yeah,
Tibet.
so it's quite cold and high elevation.
I see.
That's why people over there, they love eat spicy food.
Yeah.
So, oh right, let me mention. So in Phoenix, there's more and more Sichuan restaurant. If you go to Mekong Plaza, opposite, there's one Sichuan restaurant over there.
Yeah, but in Mekong Plaza, they also have the Mekong Palais, which is Cantonese food.
That's a Cantonese food.
The Vietnamese like to go dim sum there. That's for
right.
the East Valley. In the West Valley is Great Wall. Everybody know about Great Wall, right?
That's
so then now also the New Ming Gee is also Cantonese too, and D&Y seafood also Cantonese.
That's correct. So the third cuisine I will recommend will be the Zhejiang cuisine. So if you love Shanghai styles, that is a part of it. So the proportions are small, exquisite, and quite delicate, and crispy and refreshing. So Zhejiang province, this area has a lot of mountains and rivers, so it's rich for fish and shrimp. So its cuisine reflects its environment.
What about people live in the capital of China, which is Beijing? What do they eat? What kind of food?
It's still Cantonese food and Sichuan food.
Okay, the two styles. Yes.
Two.
Yes. Well, thank you for mentioning about the food. You make me feel hungry. I also know that in Phoenix, there was an association of Chinese restaurants.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yes, we have more than 500 members.
Wow. So that means the restaurant association, right? Chinese Restaurant Association.
Yes.
Well, thank you for show us like the high level of everything we need to know about the Chinese culture. A lot of question that people want to know is, how did the Chinese people first come to America?
Yes. Chinese has long history in the United States. Chinese immigrated to the US more than 170 years. In 1980s, California had more than 24,000 Chinese miners. In the late 19th century, Chinese workers helped to build the Transcontinental Railroad. The Central Pacific Company hired more than 13,000 Chinese labor. And then the construction group were formed of 80 to 90% of Chinese labor. So today, Chinese approximately have 5.3 million people in the US are of Chinese descent, and 75% are American citizens. Chinese Americans make up of the 1.2% of the US total population.
And they consider the largest Asian American in United States.
Yes, that's correct. Chinese contributed over $300 billion to US GDP in 2019 through consumer spending and supporting 3 million jobs. There are over 160,000 Chinese American owned business in the US, generating approximately $240 billion and supporting 1.3 million jobs in 2017.
That is Chinese immigrant in the US. What about local here in Arizona? Do you have any number or any data to show that how many Chinese American in Arizona?
Oh, sure, definitely. You know what? Chinese in Arizona also has long history. In 1863, before Arizona became part of the US, many Chinese already make their life in Arizona. Around the mid of 19th century, Chinese were farming around Tucson. In the early 1890s, Phoenix has less than 200 Chinese people. Because of the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, Chinese population started to decline in Phoenix until the early 2000th century. Around the 1930s, Phoenix has approximately 300 Chinese. According to the U.S. Census 2017, Phoenix metropolitan area has more than 40,000 Chinese. So this picture we show here is the first Chinese family, the earliest Chinese family, William Holland family.
That back then in the 1820?
Yes.
Wow. Talk about, the Chinese immigrant is the first Asian immigrant to the United States. So then there must be a lot of history behind that.
That's correct.
So if somebody go here, visit Arizona, and let's say you have a friend, or they want to know more about the Chinese culture and the history of Chinese people when they first came to America, especially to Arizona, where are you going to take us to?
Well, I will definitely recommend 3 historical places. The first one I will recommend is the Deng Yuan warehouse. In 1909, Deng Kailong came from China to work in Phoenix. After 7 years hard work, he spent $500 to buy a piece of land at 224 East Buchanan Street and build a grocery store. In 1926, he used $17,500 to build a warehouse in the same street. This warehouse was rented to Smart and Final until 1950. In 1985, this warehouse became one of the National Register of the Historic Places.
Is that downtown Phoenix?
It is in downtown Phoenix. So the second place I would recommend is the Sun Mercantile Company. 1910, 21-year-old Shang Tang came from China to Phoenix to take over his uncle's grocery business because his uncle went back to China. 2 years later, he opened another grocery in Phoenix. He ran the grocery business for more than 20 years and became a very successful businessman. During this period, he founded the Sun Mercantile Company. April 1929, Tang built the largest warehouse in Phoenix around the Jefferson and the 3rd Street. Tang was the vendor for Safeway and Bashas' for many, many years. He became the largest grocery wholesaler. 1985, this warehouse became one of the National Register of the Historic Places. Later, Phoenix Sun purchased this building, and they wanted to turn it down to build a hotel and apartment complex. The local Chinese community was strongly against this action, and they filed a lawsuit. 2007, the court ruled over the decision and kept this historical building.
Yeah, so interesting.
Yes. So the third place I would recommend you to go is the Shanghai Substrate House. 1928, Fred Li opened this Shanghai Substrate House in downtown Phoenix. Many politicians and celebrities love this place, such as Rose Mulford and John McCain. 2018, the Li family sold this building. So their old clients came back to have the last meal, and then they wrote their words on the wall of the restaurant as shown on this picture.
That's so awesome. I will have to check it out. I didn't know about that. But this is what we learned about the Chinese culture and also Chinese American community in our beautiful state of Arizona. So if somebody who want to learn more about the Chinese culture, or who would like to know more, like where to learn how to speak or read and write, in Chinese, what do you recommend them? Or there is an association that they can contact?
Definitely. So we have many Chinese schools in town, like Chinese art school, the East Art Academy, and then you can learn Chinese language in the school too. So also there's a wonderful place you can go during the New Year is the Phoenix China Week.
Okay.
So you can Google it. I believe it's the phoenixchinaweek.org.
Yeah, they are a big event. It's 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I probably consider that one of the largest Asian festival event because, they have everything, like 3-day festival.
That's correct. Yeah. And then you can find those schools information on those events.
Okay. Thank you for your time to be here and, give us a tour of China, right? From the China mainland and how, Chinese immigrant to the U.S. It's very interesting and very good information that I learned today. And I found a lot of similarity and also, some uniqueness in Chinese culture, especially the language, the dialogue. I don't know how you guys communicate with like so many different dialogue like that. Well, thank you, and wish you luck and, for the future to come.
Thank you for having me, and I hope you learned something about China.